Happy 2023, everybody. It's been about a year or so since I've made any videos, and partially because the grow season ended and partially just because I've had a lot going on. But here's my greenhouse this year. This is a Roma tomato right here. Last year I grew a cherry tomato on this guy in this bucket upside down, and the year before it was a early girl. But I usually change the species every year, and they all do great growing upside down. I've never had a species of tomato not do well growing upside down. And this isn't even a very big bucket. It's like maybe 2-3 gallons. It was a creek bucket that I cleaned out, and then now I've used, this is like my 3rd or 4th year using it now. And then my NFTs that I had set up last year, I got my Bergman's lettuce and my romaine doing really well in them so far. And I've got my next set of starts going right here that are going to go in there once these guys are ready to pick. I'm going to fill that one soon too, but one of the legs has a leak. That back joint that's all covered in electrical tape, on the inside there's like a plug that I didn't realize was a plug that was leaking, so got to get some epoxy or something to fix that, and then I'll be able to get this guy all set back up. My calamundan tree is doing amazing. Calamansi, calamundan, they're just really good, delicious, like inch or even half-inch size oranges that I like to eat the skin and the fruit on the inside, and it's like a sweet tart. The skin's kind of sweet and the inner fruit is really sour tart. So my baby Fukumoto navel orange rooted cutting. This is one of the ones I took off my bigger tree that I have out in the driveway now, and it's doing pretty well. It's got a bunch of new growth on it. Some of my more rare dragon fruit cuttings I'm just trying to propagate more. My Arcadia Red, Costa Rica Red, and Dark Star, and Golden Isis, and all my more rare varieties. My Desert King right here, I just like to propagate them on this guy, where I have a Washington Navel Orange rooted cutting that's doing well. Had some new growth recently and has more coming soon. Some Glenora seedless grape cuttings, a bunch of chocolate mint, an agave. This is a succulent version of oregano. They also call it Cuban oregano. And as far as I know, you can use it like regular oregano, wet or dry. It's a very similar taste. It's just a lot more pungent, so you don't need as much of it. But they do not have the same medicinal values. This stuff is different medicinally, but it makes a good like cleaner additive or an additive to food when you cook. A bunch more of my chocolate mint and some of my citrus cuttings that I propagate. For people that don't know, when you go buy rooting hormone at the store, that indole-3 butyric acid, it's concentrated, so I consider that not organic, and I grow things like only organically. I make all my own fertilizers with my fish and even with fermenting things, but this is specifically my rooting tray. And I chose a mint variety, chocolate mint, because 1, it's my favorite, and 2, you see these roots, it's just like a constant mat of roots. And what happens is I take a cutting off one of my trees and then I stick it on there, and it very quickly starts to just nice and quickly heal up. This cutting's been in here for about a month, and they do take a lot longer to grow roots, but almost every cutting I've ever stuck in this tray for about a year and a half now has grown roots and not died, and it's gone on to do really well. So all my cuttings I take off my trees now, I stick in here, and they just do really, really well. One of my dragon fruits that I have growing here, and then some regular mint. I picked up some more because my peppermint, I found it died, so I wanted more. And these are just some fig tree cuttings I took the other day when I was out on a walk with my dog. And what happens is I just stick them in here, even in my table over there, and as you see, this guy's already got a root coming out the bottom there, and it'll start growing lots of roots out really soon, and I'll be able to test out and try this fig variety, see if it's any good. My big koi fish tank here. I've got one really big koi in here. He's probably like, I don't know, I got him out of a koi pond, so he's probably like 18 inches long or 16, and he's like full grown. He's like a good 20-year-old koi. And there's a medium-sized baby koi that I've raised from a baby that's like 2 or 3 years old now that's in here, that's about a foot long. And they do really well. I feed them a lot. This biofilter keeps their water nice and filtered. You see it's pretty clear, even though like there is algae on the bottom. I can stick my hand all the way in here and you see it. That's like a foot down. Bring it all the way up, way down. The water's nice and clean with my biofiltration. And the bacteria in those biofilters I use, like in this grow bed, I'm rooting some more fig cuttings, but then I also have my tomato. This was a sucker that I just pulled off of one of my beefsteak tomatoes in the front yard. It's a new variety I got. It's called a super beefsteak, and they grow a lot more flesh with a lot less juice pockets, if you know what I mean. But I stuck this in here when it was itty bitty, and then it took like, it was like probably that long. It took like maybe a week to start doing well, and then it grew roots, and now it's just gonna grow a whole plant and start fruiting soon. And I'll harvest tomatoes off this bed again like I did all summer 2 years ago. I must have harvested like maybe 500 tomatoes off this bed out of the 3 Romas I had in here. But so far this year I have this tomato, a ghost scorpion yellow habanero mix plant over there. Not a habanero, ghost scorpion mix. It's a yellow pepper, it's a new variety. It's supposed to be really hot but also big and delicious. So I have one in here and then some out in my yard. I'm hoping the one in here does best. And then a few grape cuttings I took off one of my Glenora grapevines out in the yard. You can see 2 of them are doing really well. And this 3rd one and the 4th one over there in the back corner, they're hanging over the edge. They're just not doing all that great, so I might end up pulling those out. But as far as I know, all of these fig cuttings are doing pretty well. The leaves do look like they're wilting a bit, but they actually look a lot better than they did. Like this guy I just put in yesterday, all of those are probably going to die. But I do believe that I can at least get the stem itself to root. And if I can, that's all that matters to me, because I can raise it up over time. I just want to know what I'm doing with my fig varieties. I think I have like 8 now. I don't know what some of them are, but I'm doing it for taste. I specifically care to find figs that I love the taste of, and I want to eat those figs all the time. So I'm trying to propagate things as much as possible right now from like free or cuttings that people bargain to give me or I pay very little money for, because that's how I can just get, a really cheap way to grow something out, test it, see if I like it, and then if not, I can just sell it or give it away or even just cull it, and it's not much of a loss for me. My NFT racks also do extremely well at rooting my dragon fruit and also at rooting citrus cuttings. Just takes a little bit longer with those sometimes. Coming out here, we got some of my dragon fruit mother plants. I got some more rare varieties in these big barrels. As unhealthy as these guys might look down low here, up top they have all this new growth off of all of them. So it amazed me to see how resilient these plants are. Like just down here, this guy looks very unhappy and springy and he's squishy and soft. But then right up here, he's got all this new growth here. He's got all this new growth coming out here. All these really tall, thinner ones are new growth coming out of that guy. So they're just very resilient. They take a beating, that's for sure. My Niagara purple grapes here that I got growing. These guys are extremely delicious. They're actually it looks like I'm going to get a few more bunches this year than I did last year if I can do a good job caring for them. Some of my citrus. This is my improved Meyer lemon here. I think I have like 6 fruit. Here's one of the bigger ones. There's some more like down under here. There's one down there. There's some back over there. And then of course lots of blossoms. This is my Fukumoto navel tree. It got a little bit sick, so I took it out of the greenhouse. But last year, I grafted a ruby red grapefruit graft to it, and I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but it's right on the stem right there, and it is starting to produce a branch. So aside from all this new growth on the Fukumoto navel up top here, I'm also going to get a ruby red grapefruit out the side. So that's going to be one of my dual trees. This is one of the fig varieties that I got from someone else that I have no idea what type it is, but they said that the figs are very delicious. And it seems to be a very vigorous grower. I've had this little tree I got last year in this bucket, and then it sent this up this year as another tree that I might be able to take out and have a second one. And then of course, it's just got all these pretty little figs on it that I'm hoping to try once they ripen up. We have some of our thornless brambles. Those are our Chester berries coming right at us right there, and then all these berries right there. And then come around my grape and over the top of my rock pile. I have a huge mess in my driveway I gotta clean up this year. This is our Bear's lime tree, one of the new lime tree citrus I got for Sasha. She loves limes, I love limes. This thing's not got any new growth on it yet, but it's doing a lot better than it was when I first brought it here. So yeah, we have our Bear's lime, Fukumoto navel with a ruby red grapefruit graft, improved Meyer lemon. Got a baby orange tree right here that I've grown from seed. And then it looks like I might have accidentally got one of my baby trees dug up here, this citrus I planted out here. It's a flying dragon citrus rooted cutting that I did. That they're very hardy trees, and the one that I have in a pot, it survived the winter, so I'm going to put that there to make sure, see if it survives, and if it does, I'll start growing some of those in my yard because they're very delicious. As far as like the fruits aren't delicious, but the trees are beautiful and they work good for rooting or grafting things too. So I like to graft my own citrus a lot. In fact, I just recently grafted a few Murcott mandarins and seedless Kishu mandarins that I'm hoping are going to turn out really delicious. I got like mixed in these lila berries, I call these. They're a new variety from somewhere in the USDA or something that they taste like cotton candy. They're just very delicious. These are almost ripe enough to pick. There might be one ripe enough to pick. Nope, almost. Almost. They get really big though. Like that's almost as long as half of my finger. If you look at it, they get really big. And then I also have my baby mulberries, my big mulberries in the front yard. Our baby honey crisp apple tree. My Asian pear tree that I just got this year that's doing okay. I need to water it a bunch more with nutrients today. It's got some fruit on it, but it definitely could be doing better. This is my triple crown mother plant. I got some more triple crown spread around in some places. And then this year I'm also testing out planting some of my dragon fruit in the ground here, because some of the areas of my garden I basically build miniature greenhouses over the top of over the winter, and it helps them stay alive all winter. So I'm going to try that in this area right over these dragon fruit. We'll see how that goes. My apple tree that I rescued a few years ago, it's just covered in apples. It's got multiple grafts on it too. So these are, I believe, Red Delicious, and on the other side there's some Granny Smith, and then over here somewhere we also have some Jonathan apples, I believe, or they might be Yellow Delicious. I can't remember. There's just 4 or 5 on here. And then my blueberry bush covered in berries. Looks like I need to water it today. I haven't watered it for a few days. Try to let the weather do it because we had all that rain. That is a red Jonathan apple tree, which is going to fruit probably next year, that I got as a cutting. Our Chickasaw plum is all bushy this year, probably going to fruit next year. You see our hydrangea here, our Perpetua blueberry that does 2 crops. It's got lots of fruit on it now. Some of it's dying, but a lot of it is still growing really good. You see some blueberries down here that are almost ready to pick. All the spearmint over there. The other lilac berry mother bush right there that I'm going to come around and show some. And then we have our bush with our grapevine. This is one of my grapevines I put out last year. I'm hopefully maybe going to get some in a couple of years off it. And these are, I believe, zinnia seedlings. We're hoping to start a small zinnia flower patch right there. Some more of our lilac berries. Oh, here's the Granny Smiths. They're back in the fence in there. There's a bunch of them. There's like 8. Bunch more of the lilac berries growing. These brambles are awesome. This is a Glenora grapevine that I started in here last year, and it's got grapes on it already. Bunch more of my Chester berries. That's a Chester berry. This is a giant Columbia thornless. That's the mother plant of it that I was able to take a cutting from it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is my Columbia thornless. I took a cutting off of it and rooted it last year when I sold the mother plant. That's my giant Columbia thornless. The berries on these guys get to be almost 3 inches long. And then my Primark 45 thornless blackberry, and these are all just different Chester berries that came from that original mother plant, same as the big ones over there you saw originally. Those all came from this little bucket here. It came out the bottom like those babies are and just went nuts. All my strawberries in here. This is my peach tree that I took an air layer off of, and there it is right there, and it's covered in peaches. This guy should fruit next year. Some sunflowers. Here's another Chester berry that's doing well. More strawberries. This is another one of those ghost pepper scorpion mixes. Here's this baby peach tree air layer that I took off, and you can see there's one peach. There's another peach there. There's another peach over there. There's peaches all over this guy. A nectarine tree I bought for Sasha this year because her and I both love nectarines. It's also covered in them. This is another type of peach that I got because we love peaches, so I wanted different types of it. Oh, here it is right here. This is a Santa Barbara peach, and I believe that other one is a contender peach. Our 5-in-1 pear has lots of other pears on it. It only has 1 or 2 of these Bosch pears. It has a ton of Seckel pears and a few Anjou pears, and then it has some of these Flemish beauties and then a couple of Bartletts on the end over there. But it's just covered in pears too. Our raspberries covered in fruit. This is a Desert King fig tree that I have that's also got figs on it. Fruited for the first time. I got it a couple years ago. One of our raspberries, it's a boyne. I spread it from this original mother plant, and it's in here with the fig, and then it's spreading itself around. This is a pineapple guava. We got different blueberries. A North Pole apple. That's a columnar tree. You see all the apples grow right on the trunk there. And it's grafted, so it's in a 5-gallon bucket. Summer gold or sun gold tomato seedling right here that I got that overwintered itself from last year. I had a big plant in there, and one of the babies got left behind, rooted itself. My fall gold double cropping raspberries, another type of yellow everbearing raspberry. I also got black jewel this year that's hiding somewhere here. Some more dragon fruit, more grapes. I got honeyberries. My lettuce bed is doing amazing. But yeah, this side of the garden is doing pretty good. Here's my big Mahoy banana with lots of babies. That might produce fruit in another year or two if I keep it alive and healthy. But next video we'll show the rest of it.